Pokémon Horizons episode 116 just did something that nobody saw coming. It tackled a topic that fans have been so vocally frustrated about, possibly fixing the problem and saving the future of Roy's character, and it did all of that while also referencing a character who appeared in Ash Ketchum's anime too. We're gonna talk all about it in today's review video, so like and subscribe if you enjoy, and now let's dive into it. So the episode began with our heroes all settling in at the Blueberry Academy and planning to use the day to train their Pokemon, but remember last week when Crocolore's head egg started twitching and we all theorized that he was close to evolving? Well, it just happened again, and this time is so big that even Lucario notices. Our boy Crocolore is so close to evolution, man. So close to that egg hatching into a fiery phoenix. I can't wait. Very soon after, Carmine or Carbon Dioxide, whatever her name is, she makes her grand entrance, but none of our heroes remember her, and her reaction to that is hilarious. To be fair, they only met her for like 2 minutes over a year ago, so I'd say that's pretty valid. It turns out Carmine's been helping Briar with her research around the world, so the group reunites with Briar and they catch her up on everything that's happened, and while Briar begins studying Pagogo again, Lacey assigns all of our heroes to their training for the day. Liko heads into the Savannah biome and battles a wild Pyroar with Meowscarada and Charcadet, and what I like is that Pyroar feels like a hybrid of those two Pokemon. Of course, it's a cat like Meowscarada, but it also has the fire type of Charcadet, so yeah, seeing Meowscarada and Charcadet taking on a Pyroar just feels fitting. A little later, we also see that Liko has a quick training match against Ann, and then Carmine joins them and she bonds with Liko, vocally having her back against the false rumours about the rising Volt Tacklers, and it's really nice to see the more mature side of Carmine. But I have to ask, Carbon Dioxide, where is your brother? Bring him to us. We need Kieran in the anime so bad. Meanwhile, Dot goes to the coastal biome to train, and she reunites with Penny too. Also, meanwhile, Ult goes to the polar biome and straight up nearly gets unalived by a giant Overquill and its huge poisonous spike. Like genuinely, if Bro didn't dodge that, it would have went straight through him. He would have become a ghost type just like his Sableye. Lacey tries to teach him a lesson about how he shouldn't go charging in without researching a Pokemon first, but that very clearly falls on deaf ears because then he makes the exact same mistake against a Galvantula in the cave, leading to Lacey scolding him. Ult really is the definition of a little chaos gremlin, man. It takes him so long to learn every lesson. Also, totally off topic, but this video is my video so I can talk about whatever I want. You know how I called Ult a gremlin? Well dude, Gremlins has always been my favourite movie of all time ever since I was a kid, and it was just announced yesterday that we're getting a Gremlins 3 in 2027, man. I know most of you won't care, but I literally can't put into words how much that means to me. I've been waiting for this day my whole life. So yeah, I just had to bring it up in my video. I can't shut up about it, I'm telling everyone I know. Anyway, meanwhile, Roy ends up in the canyon biome where a wild Skarmory knocks Crocolore off a bridge, but luckily Kilowattrel is back on taxi duty and saves him. I pray this is the only time we see Kilowattrel being Crocolore's personal taxi service in this episode. You guys know I really don't like how our favourite big bird is always relegated to being Crocolore's transport in every situation. Like bruh, come on, Kilowattrel has more uses than that. To be honest, it kind of reminds me of how Ash's bird Pokemon were only ever used to pop Team Rocket's balloon, or search for missing Pokemon, but actually now that I think about it, I kind of miss that. It was such a staple in the anime for decades. It felt so quintessentially Ash in such a nostalgic way. Anyway, Roy then meets with Drayton who gives him those barbecue quest tasks from the Scarlet and Violet DLC, washing Pokemon, making sandwiches, taking photos, finding berries. Our boy is booked and busy slaving away while Drayton just chills out munching on his food and using all the points that Roy is accumulating. That's actually hilarious, man. It made me laugh so much. What a comedic way to portray that element from the DLC. And all I'm saying is, I need our boy Roy to bump into Snacksworth to unlock a legendary Pokemon encounter from all these barbecue quests he's doing. Of course he can't get Rayquaza from it because that requires group quests, but look at all the other options he has. Where are you, Snacksworth? We need you, buddy. Anyway, Lacey bickers with Drayton over him making Roy do all of those quests, but then Drayton begins taking Roy seriously when he finds out that Roy trained with Hassel, the Elite Four member. You see, it's revealed that Drayton's grandpa, Drayden, is friends with Hassel. And because of that, Drayton has great respect for Hassel, so now he respects Roy too because he trained with him. So now Drayton wants to train Roy properly with a battle. Okay, so first of all, I'm not going to go off on some big spiel about this confirming Ash's anime and Pokémon Horizons are in the same universe, because it doesn't confirm or deconfirm that. But as always, it makes me so incredibly happy and excited to see that Horizons is finally willing to reference things and characters that did appear in Ash's anime. From Luca a few weeks ago to now Drayden being mentioned too. It really did feel like Horizons was way too scared to even get close to mentioning anything remotely Ash related for the first 2.5 years, so seeing that they're willing to do it often now puts a smile on my face regardless of whether they're in the same universe or not. It would suck if we missed out on so many great opportunities and characters just because of the anime's past. And plus, Drayden is actually my favourite gym leader of all time, alongside my boy Brawly, so witnessing Drayden being mentioned in Horizons set off such a huge celebration in my head. I pray we actually get to see him in the flesh too at some point. Also, in general, what a great writing idea to bring back Roy's training with Hassel to inspire Drayton to take him seriously now because of his grandfather. That feels really unique and in character. Since Roy lost his double battle against Nemona, he wants to train those double combinations the most, so his battle with Drayton is a double battle too. Drayton's Arcaladon and Kingdra versus Roy's Crocalor and Kilowattrel. And I'm gonna say this once again, one final time. No taxi duty for Kilowattrel. Please. Let our big bird shine without being weighed down by a crocodilian on his back. The battle begins with Kingdra using Icy Wind, but finally this activates Kilowattrel's Wind Power ability, powering up his Electro Ball. But that's still not enough because Arcaladon's Electro Shot destroys it effortlessly, but at least it buys the opportunity for Crocalor to use Disarming Voice, hitting Kingdra hard. But once again Arcaladon counters that soon after with the least snarl-looking snarl ever. But then, oh brother, of course it's time for Kilowattrel to turn into Crocalor's taxi again. We should just nickname Kilowattrel Transformer at this point, because why is he always converted into a vehicle every episode? Anyway, Kingdra uses Hydro Pump and Arcaladon uses Draco Meteor, but our boys in the sky fly around, so smoothly dodging it all. You see, they have experience with this from their battle against Rayquaza in Area 0, but then Kingdra's Icy Wind ups the difficulty setting by making the meteors even more erratic. But the synergy on Roy's team between the Croc and the Bird is just too good though. They both use their vocal attacks, Disarming Voice and Uproar, to protect themselves. And at that point, I was thinking, wow, Roy is doing really great in a double battle format. Maybe it's not that he sucked at him last week. Maybe it's just that Lucario doesn't have the synergy with Crocalor that Kilowattrel does. But then Drayton immediately shut me up by his Kingdra using Rain Dance, which boosted Arcaladon's Electro Beam to an unfathomable degree, destroying Kilowattrel like it's absolutely nothing. And then Kingdra's speed is boosted by the Rain too, using a water move to knock out Crocalor. So yeah, that battle was obviously a brief one, with Roy getting destroyed really quickly, but to be honest, it kind of made sense to me. Drayton is the strongest Elite Four member here, and his strategy with Rain Dance boosting both of his Pokemon, that was genuinely brilliant. I don't know what Roy could have done against that. It all happened too quickly, he had no time to react. Of course, I'm gutted that Kilowattrel got shafted again, but as long as he makes up for it in a possible rematch against Drayton in the future, then I'll be okay. But brother, if Lucario replaces Kilowattrel in that rematch, if that happens, then I really don't know what to say. I think I'll genuinely lose all hope. And I'll probably burn my house down too, but anyway. So, Roy knows that he has to get stronger, but Drayton basically teaches him that maybe he can't do his best if his heart and his mind are so stiff. Roy needs to find a more calm and relaxed approach to make him battle better, exactly like Drayton has. And dude, if this leads to Roy getting some of his personality from before the time skip back, if he begins to feel slightly more lighthearted again with all the singing and joyful wonder from before the time skip, then Drayton is the best anipoke character ever for leading him down that path. Overly serious, stoic, heroic, cool Roy was interesting for a little bit, but let's be honest, most of us want the fun, happy Roy back that we all fell in love with 2 years ago. If I've seen one main criticism of the post-time skip era of Horizons, it's how they've handled and ruined Roy's character. They took away everything that made Roy special and sweet and unique. They took away everything that fans loved about his character, just to turn him into a generic cool dude archetype. So if this development, Roy taking himself less seriously and being more relaxed, if that begins to lead Roy back to how he used to be before the time skip, then I feel like this episode just fixed a huge mistake and saved his character. And that's the most hype thing of all time, man. I did not see that coming at all. Also, this scene with Drayton and Roy really reminded me of when Iris taught Ash's Dragonite a similar thing in Journeys, that battling and getting stronger is harder when you're so worked up and serious all the time, that you should relax and enjoy the fun of battling. That was such a nice moment. Anyway, the episode then ended by setting up Ult's battle against Lacey. Overall, I thought this was a genuinely fantastic episode. The way it portrayed the BBQ quests was hilarious, the character moments like with Carmine and Drayton were great too, and if Drayton is leading Roy down the path to returning to how he used to be by relaxing more, being more lighthearted, then that's something fans have been praying for so long. It would be perfect for the next few episodes to show Roy and his Pokemon finding ways to relax and have fun, rather than being so serious. And then that could lead to a rematch between Roy and Drayton, where Roy and Crocolaw have so much fun, maybe even singing mid-battle too, and that could lead to Crocolaw's egg hatching and evolving into the musical Skeledirge and winning the battle. How perfect that'd be, man. I also really loved how the episode portrayed all of our heroes going off and doing their own specialised training. It felt like time was passing and they were all learning and getting stronger in their own ways. And that just goes to show that you don't have to spend tons of time and budget on this stuff. Showing brief glimpses of Liko's battle against Pyroar and Ann, brief glimpses of Ult learning a lesson, that was more than enough to show them both getting stronger and smarter without dedicating entire episodes to it. This episode really surprised me in a positive way. I thought it'd just be a battle between Roy and Drayton, but it ended up being so much more than that. So now I'm even more hyped for what's to come in the future. But I am still low-key fuming about how they treated my boy Kilowattrel. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the episode below. Be sure to like and subscribe too if you enjoyed, because we're nearly 150k subscribers. And thank you so much to all of my incredible channel members like Fizz, Toten, Juscadia, Not Minnie, Melissa, Hope, Shareborn, Pokesan, Jay. You guys are legends, I really appreciate your support. And yeah, on that note, thank you all so much for watching and best wishes until we meet again!